Rica, once again, welcome first of all to NBS Sport, and thank you for sharing your profile, your story with all our viewers today.
Thank you very much, Jonah. I'm glad that I've been invited to share my story at NBS Sport. Thank you very much.
All right. I don't even know where to start from. I've known you in football and outside football circles, and that's a story for another day. Of course, we're not going to get into that right now, but I want to hear your story first. How did you get to being a beach footballer and then representing your country?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jonah. I started my beach journey at Nkumba University. I started my university, my first bachelor's at Nkumba University. So we had an opportunity. It's just a crossover from Nkumba to here, where you used to come and train. And I had a part of playing at the Nkumba University Football Club. So from there, we used to come here and train. And the interest comes in slowly by slowly. We found that the Uganda Beach Soccer Association had prepared a league. We participated. So yeah, the interest came along, and yeah, I joined.
You played actual football, outside beach football.
Yeah.
I don't know how you describe that, the normal football.
Yeah.
I also played actually, but and you played for Nkumba in the varsity games. You're one of the standout players.
Yeah.
You played at centre back, if I remember right.
Yes.
How was the transition moving from grass to sand?
Yeah, it's I would say people have a perspective that beach soccer and the grass football is a bit different. But when you train on the sand, it gives you extra fitness. Many of the players, the professional players, you see them once they go for holidays, for them to catch up with their fitness, you find them at the beach when they are training. So it's an opportunity. When we came here to train, we picked interest, like I said, along. So us going back to organize ourselves, to learn the basics, the rules, it gave us an opportunity to come and participate in the league.
You mentioned other footballers, and off the top of my head, you were in that team, Matthias Chigonya, one of the top goalkeepers, played for several clubs in the top flight, Becca Lukoya, Brian Nkubi.
Yes.
These are all players who play on the grass, but are also part of the Sand Cranes team. So was that something that drove you as well, looking at all these semi-professional footballers, so to say, playing on sand and also managing to still get back on grass and being as competitive? Did that inspire you in any way and make you think that, I can do it as well?
Yeah, along the way I had an interest because if you look at many clubs now, the bigger clubs in Uganda, KCCA, you'll find John Revita there. They picked him from the sand.
John Revita played on sand as well.
Yes, he did play on the sand. You look at Brian Nkubi, he was at Vipers, URA. You look at Joshua Lubwama now, he's at URA. You look at many, Chibirige Medi, who's at SC Villa. So if you see many of them now, the top scorer, Alan Kayua, in Express, he also plays on the sand. So many of them, if you see them, they've played professional football. I'll give an example of David Owori, who went to Spain to play professional football. You can see they got an opportunity from here at the sand, and it gives you a picture of how people get a lot of fitness when they train on the sand.
All right. To you as an individual, when you got your first call up to the Sand Cranes, do you remember that day? What did it feel like being someone to represent your country?
It was amazing. I would say I remember calling my mother, telling her that I got an opportunity. You know those things of they first call you, are you available? I didn't expect it to be my first. I don't know. If I can't explain it right now, it's something which is I still hold in my memory because I was still at university. This young boy who's trying to pursue a career, and they tell you that you're going to represent your country at national level. And putting on that jersey, the weight it comes with when you're still a young man, it's another experience, I would say. But I felt amazing, and up to now, discipline. You have to keep the discipline for you to be there. Yeah.
Now you then got into the team. You played a couple of qualifiers. If memory serves me right, you featured in the game at this very venue where we are right now against Ivory Coast in one of the qualifiers, one of the decisive games. I think we won 2-1. That was one of the key games that got us to qualify to go to Senegal for the first edition in 2021.
That was before. I remember even we had those days when Onyango was at his prime.
Dennis
Onyango, he was here. A lot of football players, the professional ones, came to watch us play. But I think that was the first edition in 2019 when Ivory Coast came here. We tried our level best, but we didn't qualify because we lost away from home. But it was a very tight game.
We try to cover as much ground as we can. I know you're fit, so you don't really have a challenge walking on the beach. But I want to understand I haven't been lucky enough to play for my country in any sport, let alone football. But when you go to Senegal at the Africa Cup of Nations in 2021, what did it feel like to wear that shirt and feature in a country on a continental level?
Many of us, when we are performing well at the club level, when you go at the national level, at times it gets hard. Because the pressure you pick along is a bit so heavy, you know, when they are guiding you, when they are counseling you that, you know, you're now going to represent around 45 million people. You know that feeling which comes along. I felt the weight on me, putting on that name at my back, Rica Byaruhanga, going to represent the country. It was a different feeling. You know, the journey from here to Senegal, around 18 hours. It was a very long one. You reach there when the degrees are around 45 degrees, when you're playing in that very hot sun. So it was another experience.
We as a team, of course, managed to get to the semi-finals, eventually losing to Mozambique in that semi-final and finishing fourth, a very commendable fourth place finish. For you as an individual, now forget about the team, but you as an individual, did you feel your goals had been achieved and do you think the team could have maybe done even better and gotten to the final?
First of all, it was our first experience to be at the AFCON. And I would tell you, Jonah, we were, I think, around 26 seconds late from qualifying to the World Cup. I think we would have been the first team to qualify at the World Cup because we led the game for the 2 quarters. But I don't know, like the way I said, the temperatures were so different. Playing
perhaps experience?
Experience, it's our first time there because for us, we left Uganda to say that let's go and learn. Let's qualify from the group stages and see what comes up next. Then when we come next time, maybe we can improve. So it was an overachievement, I would say.
I want us to jump from 2021 to 2022 because we had 2 consecutive editions because of COVID. The 2021 edition was supposed to be played in 2020. But then we had 2, 2021 and 2022. 2022, you did not make the squad or travel with the team. What exactly happened?
I got a call up the first time when we were going to play for the qualifiers. I showed up and I played. I was away from, first of all, I am a senior monitoring and evaluation officer with FIDA Uganda, but I've worked with the Legal Aid Service Providers Network and I've worked with USAID RTI in the same capacity. So when I requested for leave, I had disclosed that I play for the Sun Cranes. They allowed me and they gave me a leave of around 1 month. So that one month period, I consumed my annual leave. And we qualified for Mozambique because we played Comoros here at home and away at their home ground.
And you featured in both games?
Yes. Okay. I would say we got an opportunity. But the reason why I didn't qualify, the reason why I didn't go for the AFCON was I requested for leave from my workplace and they told me my work leave was consumed.
1 month,
So they couldn't give me extra 2 months. You can imagine 2 months away from work. It couldn't happen. So I requested FUFA that I wouldn't be able to participate and they understood.
They understood. And it takes me to the story of Ugandan sports because you can imagine you're a player, a good player who's needed on the national team, but then you need a job to earn a living, to support yourself. And then you can't represent the country. It happens with rugby as well. It happens with basketball. Sometimes these players have to ask for permission to be away from work. How do you merge the two? How do you think that players can wear their country colors and still have jobs?
I think beach soccer is a growing sport. So I would say the money is still very little. If there was money in beach soccer, you would find me at the beach all the time, maybe playing professional beach soccer. It's not only for me, but even other colleagues of mine. So you find a way of trying to survive. You're a growing man. You have needs. Your family is up there. They also have their needs. So you'd opt for, opportunity cost. Let me go for what brings something on the table and I can do something at part-time. A lot of our friends in different capacities of basketball, you find them doing other professional work and they just come, It's a talent you have. You don't want to be accountable to God that you didn't use it. Yeah.
And that's a fair argument. But your story, of course, with the Sun Cranes, how many caps have you had for the national team? How many goals have you scored? And what position do you play for the national team?
Yeah, I've had 8.
8 caps?
Yeah, okay. I've played in Copa Dar es Salaam. I've played in the AFCON, the first edition. Yeah, and I would say I have 2 goals. 2 goals, and I'm a defender.
Yeah. You played at defense.
Yes. Yeah.
What a story to tell.
Yeah.
All right. You talk about a part of sportsmen lives that we don't ever really pay attention to, and that's their welfare. Because you said you have a job, you have to work, you're a senior monitoring evaluator, evaluation officer, and partly the reason why you have not added to your 8 caps is because you have to earn a living.
Yeah.
So how do we, is it a question of asking federations or the government? Because with, for example, cricket, we have contracts. These players are contracted and put on a salary.
Yeah.
It's the only federation that does it. And you'll argue that maybe they are supported by the international federation. Is it something that these other federations, especially for your case for football, they can pick on and perhaps bring on board in terms of contracting players and putting them on a full-time salary so they don't have to miss playing for the country because of work?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jonah, when you talk about contracting players. Imagine having a contract with a club in Uganda where they pay you well. We've had scenarios of, let me give an example of Tadeo Luanga. He's a graduate of engineering, but look at him, he has a contract with a club in Djibouti. Yeah, he's playing. You can see he's so focused on his career of playing. So if it wasn't there, you'd find him doing engineering, and look at a waste of talent which would be. And there are a lot of players out there. So me, I think if we had that in place, believe me, yes, many of the players would be in active sports.
Are there resources there? Is there enough money to contract 25 to 30 footballers for the national team annually?
No.
You don't think that
I don't think.
Despite the fact that FIFA gets the biggest cut of the national budget, you still don't think they can make a provision to contract 30 players who are signed up, whether it's a Sand Cranes, the senior Cranes team, the Hippos, the Cubs, the women's national team as well? You don't think that's something that can be done?
FIFA has the capacity to maintain the 25 players because they call them from clubs. But our clubs don't have the capacity to maintain these players for a year. They don't.
But they are contracted, aren't they? Don't they sign contracts to play for this team?
They sign contracts to play with their clubs, not to play for the national team.
Yeah, so my question is, FIFA as the federation contracting these players as national team players, it's something that has been mentioned before, but it has never really been implemented. For example, the way the Uganda Cricket Association does it. And you sign a contract and say, Khalid Lualiwa, Gavin Chizito, Aziz Kayondo, Khalid Aucho, and another 26 players to make 30. You're going to sign a contract with FIFA and you will be paid a salary annually, whether the national team is playing or not.
FIFA has the capacity to.
So why can't that happen?
That means that FIFA will be entirely owning Rica when he's at the national team. But Rica still has to play for St. Lawrence, because remember we have clubs within the league whereby FIFA will come and spot in these players. They pick you, then they take you.
So your worry would be if these contracts were put in place, players would be restricted in terms of their club commitment.
Exactly.
Okay. And moving forward for beach football, where does beach football go? Where we're standing right now used to be a pitch that extended way towards the water, and now it's all shrunk as the waters kept drifting inwards, and we can no longer have even league games happen here. From what I know now, league games have moved to Njeru. How do we manage facilities? Let's start with the beach football itself.
Mother Nature. I'll start with Mother Nature. In COVID, you saw what happened. The lake came and took over whatever we were utilizing as a pitch. First of all, Lido, now here. You can see even our space is so limited. That's why I think they had a provision of going to Fufa Technical Center in Njeru. Even in Fufa, it's a temporary thing they put there. So it's not a standard pitch, I would say. It was a provision to ensure that the league is still going on. However, they have another setup in Motola where clubs can go and train. But I think they have an arrangement with Fufa, with UBSA, to go and train there. But to
UBSA being Uganda Beach Soccer Association.
Exactly. But to be honest, I think we need to put up structures. I've seen Fufa take strides to start moving the game beyond town. They took the game to Hoima. They are trying to set up even a facility there. I'm not sure of the place very well, but I think we need more. If we are to develop this game, we need more structures, and it's entirely FIFA which has to look at this.
as we come to the end of our conversation, Rica, where do you see yourself in terms of the national team, beach football, in the next 2-3 years? Is it almost time for you to hang your gloves or your boots? I don't know what to use for beach football. Hang your feet, because you don't even use boots when you're playing. But do you see your national team career coming to a close anytime soon?
Not yet.
How old are you?
32.
32.
Yeah.
How much more do you have left in your engine?
I think I can go for more 8 years.
8 years?
Yes.
You see yourself representing the country at 40 years old?
Yes.
You believe that?
I do.
We'll test your fitness and your skills after this. But
yeah, okay.
I'm just wondering, 8 years on this, I'm just walking on the beach and it's quite heavy for me. So I'm wondering, you who's playing competitively and running on this sand, how do you manage that?
It comes with an experience. The first time we were playing on this, we felt it was very hot. But you could find us playing with bare foot or on such kind of a very hot weather. When we went for AFCON, we experienced a guy who's about 45 years, still playing for his country.
And competitive.
So why not Rica?
So you see yourself comfortably?
Yes. I'm okay. I feel I can push for more 8 years.
Right. And your maybe parting message, your final shot, and to all those aspiring young beach footballers, even grass footballers who are listening to you, watching you, seeing you flourish, live your dream, what do you say to them as they listen to your story today?
First of all, discipline is very key. Whatever you do, make sure that you're disciplined. We have, footballers, we have that kind of a life. When the money comes, you want to, to move around everywhere, but you have to keep disciplined. Know when to go out, know the kind of friends you have, know the kind of people to interact with, seek good friends to advise you whenever you need, and try to see that you develop yourself, because this career is very short. I could be living for 90 years, so you can imagine I'm going to play for only 15 years, so the rest of the years I have to live. So what you make out of this career, make sure that you utilize it well. And another thing I would say for the grassroots, look at what others have done. Pick a lesson. Don't criticize. Don't be so abusive. If Jonah failed in something, try to make it better. If Rica and Baker failed to qualify in 2019, come and ensure that at least you take the trophy for Uganda. So it's something beyond. Don't look at what Rica has done. Look at what you can do beyond what Rica has done.
And those chasing a career alongside sport, you're a classic example. You're a graduate with a bachelor's degree, and yet you have a master's.
Yes.
You even have a master's degree, and yet you're playing for the national team. You're able to play and work. Isn't that something also the youngsters out there watching us today could appreciate and know that you can be a sportsman and also excel academically?
Yeah, I think to be realistic, Jonah, our setup, we've got opportunities. You see players, they get opportunities of scholarships, but just because they don't have discipline, they don't stay in school. So I think if you're disciplined, the opportunities will come. The opportunities will come by themselves. You've seen players from Chitende graduating to the national team. So if you keep disciplined, believe me, yes, Jonah, you're going to go beyond what you expect.
As you've heard from Rica himself, his story as a budding footballer, starting from Nkumba University, captaining the team on grass football, finding his way to the beach across the road from here, and then eventually making it to the national team and traveling to the Africa Cup of Nations in Senegal, and then to Mozambique, where he fell short because he couldn't make it because he had a job to tend to. His story is quite captivating. But the journey continues for the Sand Cranes. They will look to qualify to the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations. The dates are not yet set, the venue is not yet set, but CAF will be communicating sometime this year. We will know if the Sand Cranes and Rica Byaruhanga himself will be traveling with the team in a year's time to represent the country. But for now, what a story, what a man on NBS Sport Profile.